Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today. It is Thursday, July the 22nd, after an off day yesterday. Back in action there, not an off day for the team, of course, but for me. But we're back in action today, bringing you the latest with the Colorado Rockies here on the Locked On Rockies podcast, proudly part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Locked On MLB Prospects. It's MLB draft season, and the Locked On MLB Prospects podcast is covering every future star of Major League Baseball. Host Rom Layton brings you player interviews and farm system breakdowns every day. Subscribe to Locked On MLB Prospects on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts. Today's episode is going to be a good one. We're going to ask the question, what does a winning road trip mean for the Rockies? We're going to talk a little bit about Connor Joe and what his role should be, and a couple of storylines that I noticed from the Mariners series. And let's start there with the Mariners series. The Rockies split one game apiece there with the little midweek matchup with the popular on Twitter known as the AL Rockies. Mariners taking the first game 6-4. Rockies 6-3 yesterday. Big storyline yesterday. Austin Gomber looked great. He gave the Rockies 6 innings, 3 strikeouts, 3 runs, but that was the case. It was just a long ball yesterday for the Mariners, just a couple of bad pitches. And if damage is being done on solo home runs, you'll take that any day of the week. You're completely fine with that, especially from Austin being his first start back from the IL. Austin Gomber continues to impress, continues to demonstrate that he was a piece to go after in that trade, and has shown that he was ready to pitch for this team. And I think having that chip on his shoulder a little bit maybe has boosted his confidence. But we love seeing what we saw from Austin there off of the IL and against the Mariners yesterday. Deja vu a little bit for the Rockies as they split the last series with the M's. I thought this was a series the Rockies could have taken advantage, gotten a quick sweep, and gotten on back to the super winning ways there at home after losing the series to the Dodgers earlier in the weekend through the weekend. But you'll take a split. You'll as long as you didn't get swept, especially at where you play your best ball, which is at home. Another big thing that the Rockies were able to get after was a big first inning yesterday. Five runs there. It's great to score early. You love when the Rockies can get off to a good start and get up there and take advantage of their ballpark and take advantage of what they do best, which is playing baseball at home. We saw some great defense from the team there, but how about Dom Nunez doing the damage there in the bottom of the first? That's what you really like to see. It's really nice when the players that haven't always performed well offensively this year step up and do big things like Dom Nunez did there. I know Dom has had a couple of moments for the team, but we all know about hitting and the Rockies catchers there. But Charlie Blackmon seems to be swinging a great bat lately as well, and it was awesome to have Raimel Tapia back in the lineup. He makes a difference with his approach, whether it as untraditional as it is and as streaky as it has been. You can't argue that Raimel has not been valuable for the team this year. I mean, you can want more from Raimel. I think that's a fair thing to say. It's a fair thing to ask for. But at the end of the day, the Rockies are a better team, in my opinion, with Raimel Tapia in the lineup and making an impact for the team. So that's my 2 cents there. It's just going to be something that the Rockies need to keep an eye on, but I'm always excited with Tapia back in the lineup. I think that's a good sign for the team, and I think the team does have just those interesting offensive players that flash and bring some energy and excitement to the game. It just is, the Rockies are more fun with Tapia in the lineup, and the Rockies are more fun with Connor Joe in the lineup, who got to start here after being called up and hits his first career home run in this series as well, especially, the story of the anniversary of his cancer. I mean, he's an incredible story. And we're going to talk more about Connor Joe here towards the end of the show, because he's worth diving into. He's worth talking about, because the Rockies have something I think pretty interesting there when it comes to Connor Joe. I think he's a great asset for this team great asset in meaning that the Rockies can really see what they got with this potential, star, and I don't know, star, but just potential good player that flew under the radar, and they're given a second chance to. And like I said, we'll dive more into that here in just a little bit. But one thing also I think maybe some people might have on their minds after this series with the Mariners is Germán and that sixth inning he had when he let up the 4 runs there. And I'm not worried about it. I mean, he looked good early in that game, and he's been doing so much. He's been so good for so long. It's baseball. I mean, that's just how it happens. He is the workhorse for the Rockies, but at the same time, you can't ask him to do everything that he does every single day. That just isn't realistic. So I'm not too worried about what happened with Germán there in the 6th. It was a bummer, obviously, especially because he had such good success against the Mariners there the last time that they matched up, but that's again, that's just baseball, and that's playing baseball where you play baseball. It's not just his environment that he plays in. He's great pitching at home. I think it's not a Coors Field thing versus it was just the All-Star game and how great he was leading up to the All-Star game and all the stuff. I mean, there's a lot there, and I just think it was a moment where maybe just the tank was a little empty or something like that. So no issues with me with Germán there. It was a bummer. But I feel like the Rockies could have taken more advantage to back up their all-star in those games when you're going up against one of the weaker pitchers in the Mariners rotation. So, but yeah, I mean, you feel pretty good about that. You don't feel great about the Rockies after this homestand because it just shows that the team is vulnerable at home. It's not like that the Rockies are unbeatable. It certainly has felt that way for some teams, I'm sure, but it does demonstrate that the Rockies are still missing pieces. And what we also learned from earlier against the Dodgers is just that the Dodgers are on a whole nother level still compared to the Rockies. We'll see truly what this team can do with the pieces that they want back in the lineup going up against this weekend. But they open on the road with Chichi Gonzalez going against the Dodgers. A winning road trip would mean some things for the Rockies, but I want to stay optimistic, but there is a lot ahead of this team, and we'll see. And we'll dive into what a winning road trip means for the Rockies. But before we get to that, I got to tell you about Fully Loaded Chew, because today's episode is brought to you in part by Fully Loaded Chew. Fully Loaded Chew is tobacco-free, long cut, and pouches that give you the same pack, dip, spit, and buzz you're used to without tobacco. It's available in 9 flavors. Fully Loaded Chew is made with all food-grade ingredients and tobacco-free nicotine, the purest form of nicotine available. It's the only moist nicotine pouch on the market. All other nicotine pouches are dry, white pouches. Nothing dips, spits, and packs like Fully Loaded. Fully Loaded Chew is offering Locked On Rockies listeners a special offer. Right now, you can try a can for just $1. Yep. That's right, just $1. Go to fullyloadedchew.com and use promo code LOCKEDON, and it's just $1 in free shipping if you use the code LOCKEDON at checkout for your first can. Next time you go for a dip, make it a Fully Loaded Chew. fullyloadedchew.com. Also, don't waste time going up and down the aisles all over the place, driving all around when you can get all your auto parts needs at rockauto.com. There's an ever-increasing number of makes and models. It's impossible for those stores to carry everything you need, but the good news is Rock Auto has everything you could possibly need for your car or truck. Save time and money when using Rock Auto. It's a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer. They have everything you could need: brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. Go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right, Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. So the Rockies head on the road here for a pretty long road trip. And for a team that has more road wins or more walk-off victories than road wins, it could be some tough sledding. The Rockies do not play at home until August the 3rd when the Cubs come to town. And I don't know how you're supposed to feel about hitting this California road trip of Dodgers, Angels, Padres. That's going to be a really tough stretch for this team. However, this is a team that has shown flashes of greatness, especially from starting pitching. Greatness might be an exaggeration, not always in terms of the starting pitching, but from the overall scope of the team. They've shown that they can be competitive, and they have shown that they have been able to be competitive against teams like the Padres, who they will face on the road here. The Rockies have played well against San Diego this year, especially at home. I mean, the first road series win for the Rockies comes against the Padres as well. So what would it mean if the Rockies are successful on this road trip? And it's a good question to ask. And I think for one thing, as much as I don't want to embrace this, and as much as I still think it's a smokescreen tactic, it does show that this team is better than predicted. The Rockies are not a great ball club, but they have great pieces and they have great elements. You can't deny that the starting pitching has been mostly great this year, especially at home. I mean, that's the ultimate qualifier for everything Rockies this year is at home. The road has been a completely different story for just about everybody on the team. But if they are able to turn things around, and this is a series where they go and they play the Dodgers, Angels, and Padres, and they come out with a winning record, then that makes you start believing a little bit more in the team and the pieces. It's not a wild card team. It's not a win the NL West team. But as fans of a baseball team, it's more exciting and you get more energized and you're more into watching the team compete. Because for most of this season, watching the Rockies on the road has been painful. It's been a slog at best, I think, is the best way to watch it when you sit through some of those games. It's just a matter of perspective, I think, after this road trip. And because there's a lot of stuff that you would feel really good about as Rockies fans if the team plays well on this road trip. I think one of the things that would be the most interesting if the team performs well on the road is what that does to that right up to the deadline moment. How does Trevor Story perform in this series against the Dodgers and against LA? And what does that mean for his trade value if a deadline deal is about to go down? Does a team look at John Gray, look at his last start, look at what he does on the road? He has he has this nice road start. Does that make a team more interested in making an offer for John Gray? Same thing. Michael Givens, Daniel Bard, if they come in, shut the door, if they're doing stuff, what does if a team is willing to roll the dice with a Rockies trade, you're not rolling the dice too much. There's some solid pieces that teams could add, but I think a big thing that's been a hesitation for teams this year when it comes to trading with the Rockies is the road performance of these players. And obviously Trevor Story underperforming this year. Trevor Story would be a different name if he wasn't batting 240 and things going into the deadline. There were teams still should be super interested in him, but that's where we've seen, I think, the value fall off. But I think a big factor in that is that road performance. What does that mean for him? I think at this point, it doesn't mean too much more for a player like Trevor Story. I don't think him having a good series on the road here builds any more confidence that you needed to put you over the edge to make a move for Trevor Story. There's so many more factors that would go into that. I think it makes more sense for a John Gray type thing where you're like, all right, he's in a bit of a groove, or we liked what we saw there, and we can make a move to see what this rental might be about with Gray facing free agency as well. It seems that it could be. I mean, it seems like there could be more. This is a moment for the Rockies to prove to themselves that they are better than their record on the road, and it's an opportunity for them to prove to the fans that they are, because they were showing success on the road before the All-Star break. I mean, when you as minimal of success as that is, they did win on the road. They did play pretty good on the road as well. If you're able to capitalize that if you can take down the Dodgers in a series, I mean, that makes things more interesting for the NL West in the long run for other teams. Kind of a usual role for the Rockies at this point of the year, but it's something that fans could be excited about. But I think in the long run, it doesn't fix the Rockies' issues. It doesn't make me more confident in the direction and the status of the team, just because they're able to perform well on the road. If it's sustained, if it continues, then you can start really looking at what you have. Because if the Rockies are able to organize and play a solid second half of baseball, then I think you have more faith in some things that the team has done. But what does Ryan McMahon do for the second half? He's kind of fallen off the radar in terms of making the big splashes. He's still obviously a big key piece for the Rockies, but hasn't been as hot as late. What does the team look like after the 30th? There's a ton still to be answered, and a winning road trip doesn't answer a lot of those questions. It just makes you feel better as Rockies fans that this team goes out and plays two division rivals and is successful on the road. I think at most that's what you're getting. And then, like I said, maybe a team that another good start against the Dodgers is what they need for them to be interested in John Gray. If you're curious, John Gray's last start against the Dodgers on the 18th there, 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 runs. I mean, that's not too shabby there with John. I believe he had 7 strikeouts in that game as well. Let me double check that. 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. I mean, he's had at least 7 strikeouts in his last 3 starts. John Gray, if he has a fourth pretty darn good start in a row, would make it seem like he would be way more interesting for a team to try to make an offer for. I still think if there's going to be a big blockbuster thing, I wouldn't be surprised if a John Gray, Trevor Story combo deal goes somewhere. But the Rockies are probably going to ask for a ton if that is the case. I think pitching is always something the Rockies are going to focus a ton on. And like I said, I don't think they want to I don't think they're going to do much with John Gray, and we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what the heck's going to happen at the deadline. We talked about that earlier this week. But all right. We're going to talk about a player that deserves playing time. It's a fan favorite from this year. It's a storyline that I know a lot of Rockies fans love, and it's something that when a big moment for him happened this week, the Rockies Twitter was very excited, and of course we're talking Connor Joe. But before we get to that, I got to tell you about Bet Online. Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Baseball season is in full swing, and you can track all the action at Bet Online. Get all the latest news, odds, and info for all your sporting needs, including Major League Baseball, all your UFC and MMA action, and of course, when they pick back up, I know it's going to be a bit, but the NBA and the NHL as well. Before the next pitch between the Rockies and the Dodgers, head over to Bet Online on your laptop or mobile device and check out all the great sporting news, sign-up bonuses, and contest information. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore, as this is your chance to get into the game as teams make their run to the playoffs. Head to the website, use your mobile device, sign up today, receive 50% for a welcome bonus on your first deposit with promo code Locked On. That is promo code Locked On for a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, your online sportsbook experts. Connor Joe has brought an energy to the team that I think is appreciated not only by the players, but the fans. Obviously, you love his story of overcoming testicular cancer, What you love more is a player given an opportunity and taking advantage of it. He comes out, he starts great with the Rockies, get a nice different approach from him. There's something that they're not used to. I feel like at that point of the year, someone watching pitches, having quality at bats when he comes up. Starts great. Obviously, with those things kind of happen, he flares out a little bit and he goes down into the minors where he absolutely rakes. I mean, this is what you love to see. I think a lot of people were upset when Connor Joe was sent down, but he was at a point where let's get him some more at bats. Let's see what he can do. And if I recall, he didn't have much of a spring training, but I might be wrong on that. But anyway, I at the time when he was struggling, he wasn't playing much. Owings was coming back, I believe, and they were going with Matt Adams. They had their other utility players in, their Hampsons and things like that. So I was okay with Connor Joe going down to get more at bats, more playing time. I think that was the right call at the time, and I think what we saw is great. Gets 90 at bats in AAA. He bats 311, 407 on base percentage, and his OPS is 1.063. I mean that's nuts. I mean you love that line, and to go down and do that immediately, and to do that in 90 at bats. That's a good amount of time. That's a good amount of ABs that you're looking at. 8 home runs, 24 RBIs. This is a player and I saw a tweet about it the other on Rocky's Twitter. I can't remember exactly who I saw it from, but this was what I saw. There's no real downside to letting Connor Joe get playing time throughout the rest of the season. There's no downside to seeing what we can get from him at this point of the year. The Rockies are far from contention. They have a lot of question marks. They have a lot of pieces on the move. Why not take a look at this player that's brought a ton of excitement and really see what they can get at the major league level from him? Currently, for Connor Joe in the majors, almost 60 at bats. He's batting 254. OPS is 709. OBP at 353. It's not the greatest numbers, but we'll take that. I mean, it's a good sign for where he's at, and it's a good sign for Joe to come up and to return from the minors and hit his first home run against Seattle and pick up a couple hits, going 2 for 5 against Seattle. And like I said, with the big home run and 2 of the RBIs, truly, is there someone on the team that you would rather get playing time than Connor Joe right now in terms of what he does? And for me, no. Chris Owings was picking things back up before he goes back to the IL, but he's hurt again. Matt Adams, I just don't think brings more value than Connor Joe defensively or offensively. And he can play other places. He can fill in when Chuck needs a break there in the outfield, or you want to move things around and try things with Raimel and Daza and everyone else there with the outfield. It's a situation the Rockies have found themselves in where the ceiling could be really high for Connor Joe. I mean, he has shown some really great stuff. So why not see what that ceiling can be? And when you have no better opportunity than now to see what that ceiling could be. There is truly no downside to Connor Joe getting more playing time. If we learn more about Connor Joe, then we learn more about Connor Joe. He's a younger player. He came up. We're giving him a shot. We're seeing what's happening. And there's things the Rockies can do that can, help him develop. But if he has I think the tweet compared him to like a Max Muncy, maybe if he brings up some Max Muncy level production, some Dodgers Max Muncy production, all for it. Why not? Especially when you have a situation where is CJ Cron going to be a part of this team? Is he going to be traded? Is Connor Joe the future first baseman of the Rockies as well? I mean, there's a lot of places that he could fit. And you would have a better understanding and a better idea of where you would like to put him if you give him the opportunities at the big league level. But, and if he's going to stay hot, and if he goes into this road trip and he stays hot, that's major. That's something that you keep your eye on, and that's something you get excited about as Rockies fans. So I don't know if it was me. I maybe not everyday starter. Maybe that's a little bit too much. But he needs to play a lot this season. I think he needs to play a lot down the stretch. Let's see what Connor Joe's ceiling can be. And folks, that is going to do it for the Locked On Rockies podcast for today. Thank you all so much for joining me. Another off day for the team today as they head to California for a long road trip here. They're going against the Dodgers there. I believe it's going to be late for you all there. I believe 9:10 is first pitch Mountain Time on the for you Colorado fans out there. 7:10 here on Pacific time. I can't believe I'm so bad at my time zones now. Anyway, thank you all so much for checking out the show today. I really appreciate it. Today's episode is brought to you also by Locked On Bets. Betting on the Rockies doesn't have to be a guessing game. If you listen to the new Locked On Bets podcast hosted by your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling. Get daily picks, blowout specials, wrong team favored picks, and Lee Sterling's lock of the day. Follow the Locked On Bets podcast brought to you by betonline.ag wherever you get your podcasts. I am Paul Holden. Rockies taking on the Dodgers tomorrow. Enjoy the off day tonight, Rockies fans. Until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.